First of all, 口 is not a total square. It looks like a square when you type, and it's totally fine to write like that because everybody recognizes it correctly and it's not misleading at all. But the purpose of this video is to teach you how to write kanji beautifully. So in order to make it beautiful, you have to be aware that 口 is not a square. It goes more narrow towards the lower line. Kind of looks like a real mouth, huh? Let's look more closely. First, write a diagonal line. Tilt it only a little bit. And then the next line is also tilted. It's going up from the left to the right slightly. It's not horizontal. It's not horizontal. It's going up a little bit. And then make a turn here. Again, it goes diagonally. Diagonally. More tilted than the first line. And then close the gate. Close the gate. There's a very tiny points, but here and here, you see, those lines stick out. Very slightly though. I say this because it shouldn't be like this. Or this. Those points make kuchi very beautiful. To achieve this, try to make the first line a little bit longer. And this line is a bit shorter. Then it gets easier to write the last line like this and make them stick out a little bit. So first, write a vertical line. As usual, it goes up from the left to the right slightly and make a turn it goes down vertically. And then you write tama, which means a ball, inside the cage or box or whatever. The point you have to pay attention to is that the first line of tama is parallel to this line. Actually, all those lines are parallel to each other. At this point, you might think that I left too much room for just one last line, but no, it's important to leave space this much, because look. Kuni looks so good when the distance here and here are almost equal, here and here. It doesn't look good when it's like this. It has no space there. And this vertical line should be in the middle. And this part inside the square should not be too small. It's gonna look weird. Should be big enough. As you might have noticed, the way it sticks out is not the same as kuchi. So you're familiar with this kanji, right? Nihongo, you see this kanji all the time. Let's see more closely. Write a vertical line, and then as always, it goes up from the left to the right slightly, and go down vertically. There are only 2 points. 1. It's rectangle. It's not totally rectangle because those lines are not exactly horizontal. They're slightly diagonal. But the point is, the vertical lines are longer than the horizontal lines. 2. Here and here. The length between the lines are the same. First, write me. And there are 2 points. 1. This line is almost straight. I often see this kind of mi. It's more like a straight line rather than a curve. 2. This line first goes down vertically and goes right horizontally. All I'm saying is, it shouldn't be like this. And it's really important to leave much space here. Also, if this vertical line is too short, it looks not good. Again. The first line, this line, goes up from the left to the right, slightly, as always. Then, write a vertical line. It passes the middle of the first line. Do you see any difference here? Those lines are more like straight lines rather than curved ones. They do curve a little bit, but those are curved too much. You don't really have to think of them as curved lines. And those 2 lines are wider than the first line. And the end of those lines, here and here, should be on the same line level, you know what I mean? If they're not, it looks like this. Not good. And the last one, this one, is in the box. Did you see how my hand was moving? The most important tip is to connect the 2 lines. I'll show you what I meant. You don't actually write this, but just having the image of this line in mind is very, very important. That way, it's not gonna be like this or this. And as for the second stroke, it's straight at first. And you make a little bit of a turn here at the end. The rest is almost horizontal. The first line is not a problem. You just have to be careful not to make it like a horizontal line like this. You know, it's more like a vertical. And the second point is that here and here are the same length. Probably I don't need to mention, but this line is longer than the one above. And the next point is the same as what I said in the video of miru, so if you haven't watched it, the link is in the description box below. Just to pick out the main part of that video, you should leave enough space here, okay? And the last, but the most important point is here and here are the same height. Sometimes I see a big head, like this, but it's not good. The first line is just like the one in Saki. It shouldn't be like this, it's more like vertical. Then, to make it look good, Here and here and here, those three parts are as long as each other. In order to achieve this, you make a ratio of 1 to 2. I'm sorry, my English is bad. I hope that makes sense. It's just that the lower part is twice as long as the upper part. And you cut this part in half. Just so you know, this line is either the same length as this line or shorter. It can't be longer than this line. And you just draw the longest line, and done. This vertical line is divided into 3 parts, and those are the same length. There are countless kanjis in the world, but they can be categorized into only a few groups by the shape. One of them consists of 2 parts in the left and the right, like those ones. The left part is called hen, and the right part is called tsukuri. And in most cases, hen is narrow and tsukuri is wide. To make this clearer, I take iku as an example. Let's start. Now you see what I meant earlier? The left part is more narrow, right? I often see something like this. Talking about iku, there are 2 more points. The first point is that the first line is shorter than the second line. If it's not, it doesn't look good. And the second point, the last line, this vertical line, should be long enough. I mean, there's not an exact length, but if it's too short, it looks like this, and this is not good. First, think of a soft serve ice cream, which we call softokurimu in Japanese, by the way. Without the last 2 lines, it looks like that, doesn't it? It's important to have this image in mind. The biggest point is here. If you look at it carefully, it's almost horizontal. If it goes down like this, it's all ruined. It goes right, okay? And it ends almost on this line. It doesn't fully reach the line, but if it's too short, it's harder to continue. Then, the next line starts from around here, and it comes to this line. Or it can be a bit longer, but it cannot be shorter. And it makes a turn here. Write a vertical line. At this point, it looks like softokurimu, doesn't it? But it's not finished. The last 2 lines are also important. Imagine there are walls. The last 2 lines break the walls, like this. I often see something like this, but those have to break the walls. Okay?